Generation of landlords due to low interest rates. Wondering if there will be a low supply in the market keeping home prices elevated for a long time due to the historically low interest rates that were doled out. A lot of homeowners got in at sub-3 interest rates, and it seems even if they were to buy a new house most of them are looking to keep the low interest rate and rent out the houses since they come out ahead. Given that a lot of these loans are 30 years old, it's going to be a while for those homes to be back in the market. Wondering what factors would make these folks with ultra-low rates sell instead of just becoming landlords? Given the house price surge, low payments for them and general lack of housing, it would be all factors that help them rent fast and without hassle. Most people don't have enough of a chunk of cash laying around that they can up and move from their 3-house to a new 7-house and keep both loans. So they need to sell to recoup their cash and any appreciation in the old house, or to qualify for the new loan. I'm sure there will be some people who are able to do this, but I would assume the majority just stay where they are for much longer, or reluctantly sell. A lot of homeowners got in at 3, but many more refinanced down to 3. Everyone who was paying attention, whether they just bought or have 5 years left, is at or around 3. Personally, I own a home with a low interest rate in a really popular neighborhood. We have paid a lot of it off. We are looking for a bigger home in a nearby area. While renting it out would make the most sense financially and we could always move back to a neighborhood we love, I have zero desire to take on any more responsibility than I already have. So we will be selling. I think there are people in my boat as well. I don't want the drama of being a landlord and maintaining a second home. I think most people don't want to be landlords, so that will never happen. Homeowners will also need the proceeds from selling to buy the new house. Also, many folks don't want to be landlords. It isn't an occupation one just falls into. Has anyone considered that those who bought a house might have intended to live in it for a long time regardless of the interest rate? In areas where rents are up substantially from when someone bought a home, it is more likely that they will tolerate being a landlord. I doubt it will create a generation of landlords though. It's not a lot of fun, and once people get a taste of that, they realize they can cash out the appreciated value of the house, drop it in an investment fund and never have to worry about tenants again. Source: I've had rentals for nearly 20 years. The amount of inaccurate info in these comments is bad. Go to our real estate investing to understand the topic and hear from actual real estate investors and actually see lots of thread with people already considering renting out their primary instead of selling. Accidental landlord in Col area here. Just bought an apartment with my partner in a better Col area, but keeping my small house nearby. Purchased when I was single as a rental due to my sub-3 rate and ongoing development in the area. Never thought I would sign up for long-term landlording, but I see this as my best shot at a decent retirement. Would consider selling if when we get married and can sell for enough to pocket the max $500K exemption. I feel like everybody has this wonderful plan to own and rent their first property when they are ready to move up. The reality is that this is more uncommon, and the vast majority of people need every drop of equity out of their existing home for the new purchase. These people have to make the decision though. Do we keep the old house 3 rate and buy a new, bigger, more expensive house 7 rate and rent out the old one? Or do we sell the old house and put that money towards the new house, dramatically lowering the mortgage payout? Especially, in states with high property taxes, people may strongly consider the second one. It's going to take a lot of really good reasons for me to get rid of my house with a sub-3 interest rate, especially with house prices rising along with rates rising. There's a chance I never leave this property until I die, and I plan to give it to my kids who will likely be priced out of their home neighborhood unless they get extremely well-paying jobs. Comp house just sold down the street for $100K more than we paid in 21, and it wasn't even updated like mine was. People couldn't become landlords if there wasn't the demand for it via renters. I live in a college town, and I see what those kids do to their rental houses. 100 will sell and let somebody else deal with the headache of being a landlord. Same reason everyone doesn't convert a fully paid off home into a rental. In our case, after our kids move out, knock on wood, we're planning on converting their rooms to rentals. But our house design is unique that it can allow for it. I'm not big on the idea of being a landlord, but no way I'm giving up 2.5 fixed. This local big-time real estate agent boasted on his podcast how he wouldn't be able to have built up his multi-million-dollar real estate rental portfolio if not for the absurdly low interest rates these past years. I'm selling a property of mine with less than 3 BC. The equity is enough to buy something else in cash. BC with less buyers in the market, you can actually find decent deals. So you may see things like that move inventory. No, you can't get a residential loan for multi-tenant property with more than 4 units. Death, illness and divorce will force a sale. This is exactly how we ended up becoming accidental landlords. We bought our starter home in 2018. Refinanced to a 15 years 2.5 in 2020. Our realtor had a lead and we ended up buying our dream home in 2021. We couldn't give up a house that went from $350K to $550K in 3 years at 2.5 interest. Never thought I would be a landlord, but it's been great so far. We have a great relationship with our renters. We rent it out below market rate and take care of house. We have not increased rent in 2 years. Some will, I'm sure, but most people are going to need the equity from their current home to upgrade, which is something people like to do. My wife and I fall into this category. We just bought a new primary residence last month. Our previous home had a 2.65 interest rate that we're able to rent for nearly double PTI. We saved money for a down payment, so didn't need to tap the existing home's equity. This was always our intention when we bought our first home, so it would require something dramatic for us to sell, like a really shitty experience as a landlord or a major financial issue. We know it's always an option though, which is reassuring. Most people are not made to be landlords or have any interest in doing so. Certainly some will, but the majority of people don't want to be in the landlord business. Plus typically when moving up they need the equity in their current home to be able to afford another home. Wondering if there will be a low supply in the market keeping home prices elevated for a long time due to the historically low interest rates that were doled out. You're just now wondering this? We've been saying this is what will happen since interest rates went up. Personally, I will never let go of my rentals. Cash flow is too good. It's my retirement insurance. I don't have 401k, Roth IRA and whatnot. So I am relying on my rentals to be paid off in the remaining years and eat off that when I retire. But I can tell you a lot of people are not into the idea of being a landlord. They are just too scared and don't want to deal with the nature of the rental business. So many will sell and just use the money for the next house or throw the money elsewhere. I can tell you from experience I had my fair share of headaches in the rental business. I give it to summer 2024 or summer 2025 and majority realize they don't want to be landlords and sell to avoid capital gains tax. That's when we'll see inventory start to increase. TBF been in this industry a while now and most people can't take being LLs even with a PM doing lot of the lifting. Also lot of people can't handle seeing their old primary destroyed and most tenants are pretty rough on places. Ultimately the tax dodge from selling primary is way better. I'm the short term anyways with no risk. Sure you want to rent your property out the next 10 years, make a bit more. I moved several years ago and rent my old house that has a 2.75 rate. I have lots of equity in it, but I don't plan to sell until my kids are college age. I have other rentals as well, all with relatively low rates, and it's always been the plan to use them as college funds. A lot of folks here commenting about needing to sell the first house to get the down on the second. I know with VA loans this isn't true. You can add a second property using your remaining entitlement. I did this to buy a fourplex and then when we started having kids added an additional house in another area. Just looked it up, VA loans surprisingly make up 10 of the mortgage market.